what's your biggest epic fail?
Hotel and tourism.
Man, that's the dream customers.
That's right.
Where are you going to get the cash from?
For interns, it's around 10,000 to 15,000 LKR.
Shit. So here we are in Colombo, Sri Lanka, and I'm talking with Thisaru, who runs Purple Software. And Thisaru, please introduce yourself. Start with your own experience, your path.
Yes. So we started back in 2016. Not as old as your company though. So when we started, it was actually named Exodynamic. So those days, people weren't really, there's a huge competition. So we needed to have the proper leverage, right? So we noticed that the name doesn't go into the market much because it's hard to pronounce. So what we did was we came up with a really, anyone can just remember that, Purple. We came up with that branding when we put software to that Purple software. So we came up with that name in 2019. So after that, we were actually doing the same services, mostly, cloud-based software. We don't really do, native software, like, .NET, Java. We don't do that. We actually focus on the cloud software. Then, other than that, we actually doing mobile developments and IoT. We didn't really have a proper staff until maybe 2019. So for about 3 years, we were actually doing all the projects. So it was just me, Shazin, and the other two partners. We were actually coding ourselves. So later on, with the proper industry networking, we actually got projects. Projects started flowing, and we actually knew it's time to hire people. That's when we actually went to the next step, and we hired everybody.
Hey, I'm Konst, and I run 2 IT service agencies in Ukraine. Yes, it's gonna be about Ukraine, but I'm not asking you to donate. I'm asking you to watch and reshare. As a founder, I have a crucial battle to win, the economic one. As long as my business stands, I can keep my teammates employed and create new livelihood opportunities for tech talents who lost their jobs because of the war. In turn, these teammates can provide for their families, support local sellers, barbers, artists, and make donations themselves. And that's how we keep our economy alive. Our president, Volodymyr Zelensky, once said, "I need ammunition, not a right." I firmly believe every tech entrepreneur can relate to that, because we also need work, not charity. Yes, we continue working. We continue helping businesses speed up and secure releases, improve software quality, and add killer features. Despite the war, from safe locations, feeling brave, resilient, and grateful for having such an opportunity. I'm not diminishing the value of non-profits, collecting donations and humanitarian aid. These are essential, but if you want to support Ukraine long-term, consider choosing a service provider or product from Ukraine. Because we have plenty: Grammarly, Ajax, GitLab. Do these names ring any bells? All of them have Ukrainian roots. Stand with Ukraine by working with Ukraine. Make sure to check the links in the description below, where I go into more details into the hashtags Stand with Ukraine initiative and share resources where you can find cool Ukrainian products, from tech gadgets and SaaS to fashion and wellness and home decor. Glory to Ukraine! All right, but how about your own background? You started as a developer.
So we, our directors in Purple Software, they are all from the same university. I actually started in the University of Plymouth, affiliation here at Sri Lanka. So when we were studying there, it's actually a funny story, because it's actually a random computer that actually put those 4 people together. It's actually a random list, but now we've started a business. That's actually pretty nice.
So you went to the university altogether with the other founders?
Yes, that's right.
And how many are you?
That's 4 people.
4 people.
Yeah.
All right. So your experience, your background is software development,
engineering.
just like mine. I
Yeah.
started programming when I was 8.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
How
that's
old were you when you started?
I think 14 maybe?
14.
Not 8.
All right. And how was the transformation from software developer to a business person?
Yeah, that's actually a rough road because when you are a software engineer, it's like you need things in a certain way, and you feel like if you put someone else to do it, they don't deliver, in that level. So that's actually one of the obstacles we had to,
Well,
get over.
that's the delegation dilemma.
Yeah.
And I had the same problem. I couldn't delegate properly for the first 8 years. I was doing a lot of stuff myself, like project management and communication with customers and everything. But I became much calmer and then much easier at my heart when I started delegating.
Yeah.
Like at first, it's not perfect. But then, as you trust more, you see that other people can do the stuff that you couldn't let go of.
Yeah.
So that is very important.
So the first obstacle was I didn't really trust other people to deliver, just like I did. So after we actually hired the first person, that is Chaturanga, he actually did beyond expectation. I was like, is this real? So I was surprised actually. So that's how I started, trusting other people to do everything.
All right. And do you only have software developers in the team, or are there any other
so
roles?
We have software engineers, we have project managers, then QA engineers and database administrators.
And your customers, where are they mainly from?
They actually majority is from Sri Lanka. There are some customers from Germany and US.
Well, Germans are difficult to work with. I mean, in order to get a project from them, you need to know them for 10 years, and they are like very difficult with the trust.
Yeah, that's true.
things.
Actually, I think the most difficult people would be Japanese people.
We have experience with them too.
We actually did a project for
Very
them,
demanding.
and they were actually looking into small details and stuff. So I think Germans comparatively they are all right.
Yeah, but my question was more about starting working with them. Like, how did you get the projects in Germany?
It's
being here in
actually
Sri
from
Lanka?
an affiliation. There is a person called Dinesh. He's actually giving us projects from. Actually, he has a trust base there, so people there trust him. So
He lives
that's
there?
Yeah.
All right.
So
I lived
he's
in Germany for
actually,
15 years.
You were in Germany?
Yeah.
Okay.
I lived there for 15 years in Berlin.
Ah, really?
Yes.
So before you moved to, no, you were born in Ukraine, you moved to Germany.
Yes, and then I came back.
Okay. So the Japanese project was straight from them. That's actually a website, but we felt like it's a software project. So
All right. And how is Sri Lankan market?
it's actually like this. They don't really spend much on software, but the corporations they do. But it's still, let's say like this, a corporation would spend the same amount of money as it is in a European, a small business. You got it, right?
Yeah. All right. I got the scale between external and internal, local projects. And how much do you charge? Like, do you charge by the hour? You can give me a
actually
range if you
depends.
want.
It depends on the project. Some of them, they are like, we need this number of people for the project. Then they give us that amount, hourly or sometimes monthly. We actually mostly do contracts. We straight out tell them that it's this much, then they pay the advance, interim, then the final amount.
So you do fixed
Even-
quote projects?
That's right.
Man, that is very difficult. We dropped this about maybe 10 years ago because it was impossible to deliver.
Okay.
Because like in the modern software world, you cannot precisely assess a project.
That's
because
true, that's true.
all the time something happens, and many of those things don't really depend on you or your experience, because let's say an update to a device comes out, an operating system
That's true,
update
that's
comes
true.
out, third-party library update comes out, and so on. So there are things that you cannot forecast or foresee
That's
in
true,
advance
that's
about software. That's why those fixed quotes are often rendered useless. And in our experience, how do you manage to
That's
price them
actually
so
true. That's something we actually
meet the
would
expectations?
experience now in the future. What we do is we actually put a monthly maintenance cost. So we actually, try to get a monthly amount to, cover that expense.
And is that for the development phase, or is it afterwards for maintenance?
Afterwards, after the deployment. So we cover the server cost and any changes. It's actually not a huge change. It's like maybe for a 6 hours task, we actually do it for free
Okay.
since we have a contract. But other than that, we'll be going straight to a CR, a change request.
Right. And then you bill on top of those 6 hours that
That's
are
right.
included into the maintenance fee.
That's
All right. We do the same with certain customers who don't have like a recurring relationship with us every month. We offer them an SLA, service level agreement,
Okay.
where we say that you pay every month, let's say 10 hours of our work. If nothing happens, you still pay them.
Got it,
If something happens, you come to us, we work those 10 hours included, and then everything that is extra above those 10 hours, you gotta pay as normal by the standard hourly rate.
I think that's the best approach.
And
Yes.
what's the hourly rate that you charge?
It actually depends on the customer. Let's say, you mean the whole team?
Average, all developer this
We
much,
actually
QA this
haven't
much.
calculated hourly cost Constantine for the whole team. So it's like in Sri Lanka, mostly a software engineer would go for around 2,000 to 3,000 rupees per hour.
And how much is it in dollars?
That is
200?
actually very low. That is around 15 to 20.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So
there are
that's one of the reasons people, give out projects to, Sri Lankan people.
Yeah.
Because we maintain the same quality, but it's very low.
All right. And how do you think Sri Lankan companies are different from those from India? You can also get low rates there.
Yeah, but
What's the main difference?
mostly the projects we get, it's actually after they've reached an Indian person and they screw up the project. I'm not against Indians, but that really happens. That those are the projects that come to Sri Lanka mostly. They actually do a pretty good job, but their UI, the QA part, that's very bad.
Do you find the code well written?
We actually haven't got a chance to go inside the code, but we can see the UI. Then we are not actually getting the same project. We actually write from the beginning. You got it, right?
All right.
But what we see, the UI and the bugs part, they don't really deliver it. They probably do the coding part pretty good. I mean, Indians are famous for programming. We actually learn a lot from Indians. I mean, when we are in the university, most of the Indians do the YouTube videos with the tutorials and stuff. So it's nothing against Indians, but most of the projects we got, they after they've reached Indians, they done like maybe 4 to 6 sprints, then they move to us.
Tell me about your favorite projects.
So our favorite project, it's actually one of the IoT projects. So we actually did that for Haley's, but it didn't go through. But we still have the product. It's actually they have water filters, and they wanted the water filters to it's actually a concept they came up with, where they give out water filters. It's actually a water dispenser with the filter, part. So they wanted a IoT device to track if the filter has run out. It's like, say...
A sensor.
Yeah, so say it has filtered about 100 liters, then it should, send a signal to the headquarters. They should come and, change the filter. Mm-hmm. So that's the problem they had.
And where are the filters used again? Like water tanks? Is it for offices or for?
Yeah, it's mainly for corporations.
Coolers.
It's like a monthly subscription, like 5,000 rupees per month. Mm-hmm. Then they actually maintain everything.
How many liters are you getting for 5,000?
It's rupees? Actually plugged into the main outlet. It doesn't have that that part is not there directly connected.
Tap
to
water.
Tap water. But still, it's 5,000. I think that's pretty okay because you spend more than that in an office. So their promise is that the people get the best water possible, filtered water. So what our job was to do is to we need to make sure the filter doesn't what do you call, get dirty.
Serviced.
Yeah. So it's like after a certain number of liters, it expires. So what we needed to do was, we needed to calculate the liters that it passes through. We put up a sensor. I can't remember the sensor's name. I think that was a water flow sensor. So we calculated the flow, then converted that to liters. Then after a certain threshold, it's going to send everything to a dashboard, real time, with the socket
and
connection.
What type of
everything.
sensors did you use?
It's actually a water flow sensor. Then
which manufacturer?
That I can't remember. I think some Chinese compound.
And what's your biggest epic fail, if you can remember any?
So I think that was, we actually did a project. I mean, I still don't know if it was a failure because, the client just disappeared. So it might be one of his problems, might be, but I believe it's one of our faults. So we actually did a demonstration, but we didn't focus enough on the demonstration. I think we lost the client. But he has sent me an SMS email saying we'll be, resuming back in March this year. This happened in November. So I'm not sure if he's actually dissatisfied. What actually happened there was, we actually, I think our whole team, we were very busy with other projects. this came in later on while we had deployments of the other projects. So we couldn't really, concentrate on that project. But, the sprint plan was complete. Everything was done. But that demo, we had bugs. And I actually took my, staff side, not the client side. So I think that actually, the client was dissatisfied.
So it wasn't properly tested?
Yeah.
All right. Now let's talk about your products. You said that, and I also read on your LinkedIn profile that you have this gym product. Tell me more about it.
So it's like, I think that's the most interesting project I've done. Gympal is actually something I did myself. Just a one-man show, the whole product. From the UIs to the deployment, I did it in about 2 months. So after Gympal, that's actually one of the reasons we got projects from outside for that reputation.
So it was a good marketing tool as well?
Yeah, it's actually an investment. If I didn't do that, in 2019, I think, I can't remember the exact date, probably February, maybe 2 years, I think 3 years back. So if I didn't do that, I don't think we'd probably be able to, be in this position. I mean, Purple Software.
All right. And how successful is Gympal?
It's not that successful. It's still, there are people coming in most of the Sri Lankan gyms. And one of the bigger gyms are, our school gym, Royal College gym. So it's using that. And several other gyms in Sri Lanka. But not many international clients. I think the main reason would be because we use LKR for, amounts. I think that actually, not enticing for the foreigners.
But it's pretty easy to move it to another top level.
Yeah, but we actually didn't do that because, I actually made it for Sri Lankans in the first place. Because, Sri Lankan people, they don't really have proper software. That's why actually, it's very easy to convert it to USD, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do it in the future. But I feel like keeping it as it is for Sri Lankans. But anyone can use it, but the amount is charged from LKR. That's the only issue.
Well, but there is the usual launch plan is that you first get big in your own country and then you go international.
That's true. Yeah.
And for that you probably have to reach out to more gyms throughout the country and get them on board.
I'm not sure how it would react to a huge crowd coming in at once, but we get sign-ups from US mostly, but the retention is not that much. Only Sri Lankans have retained.
All right. And what's your dream project? What would you like to work on?
It's actually
for a customer.
I think it's mostly the tourism part, hotel and tourism. So we actually have a pretty good idea. I think it would work. It's similar to a guest you. I'm not sure if you know the software. It's like the customers who are coming into guests who are coming in the hotel, they can have application, a mobile application to do set of stuff.
Like what? Like room service and
room service,
gym, swimming pool.
They can navigate to certain places because that's one of the. I think
the hotel that I stayed at in the jungle in Dambulla, it was very difficult to navigate because it's huge. Like its length is 1 kilometer.
Yeah, So I think it's best if you have an application where you guide to certain places. Say you need to go to a pool. It's like in a hotel like Kandalam, you need to ask like 6 people, where's the pool, where's the pool, where's the... So it's easy if you have a mobile application.
Indoor navigation.
Yeah.
Back in my day as a software developer, I worked for Nokia in Berlin, and I was working on the navigation system.
Okay.
And there were plans already back then for indoor navigation. But since that time, I mean, Google has some, and there are some developments, but it's not like it didn't get to become very popular, this kind of navigation.
Yeah, that's true.
For indoors.
So you are saying it might not work out. Yeah, that's true. But it's like, it's part of the mobile application, I mean, navigation part. But it's not the main focus. It's more about, room reservations and stuff.
All right. Now back to talent. Are you doing something to keep the talent? Is there big competition on the market in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, so it's like we have Virtusa, WSO2, IFS, 99X, and MIT. Those are the top players in our industry. So the normal mindset in a student would be to go to one of those places. It's like Google, Facebook in Silicon Valley. So to counter that, what we've done in Purple Software is we've come up with something called Work with Purple. It's like in Virtusa, WSO2, they have their rules. So in Purple Software, you can do whatever you want. I mean, we don't care if you are in a lunch, in a hotel, or anywhere you want. I mean, even if you're on the beach, we actually only focus on the deadline. So if the person can deliver to the deadline, that's enough. You are free to do whatever you want.
And what happens if you find out by any chance that there is a chance of not meeting the deadline? Or if there are like legit reasons it won't be met? What do you do in this case?
That is to be communicated before the deadline. I mean, if there are anything, if he's sick, if something has gone wrong in the family, then that's something they can always communicate.
There can also be technical issues or problems.
That actually happens a lot. That's why we actually have a fake deadline. Then I think
That's called internal deadline.
Yeah, so it's like, we have an internal deadline. So that's the deadline we actually communicate to most of the juniors. The senior people would actually know the deadline. They are very responsible. So we actually, for the internal deadline, they all work out and they finish everything. Then the senior people actually go through everything, the code quality and stuff. Then we deploy.
All right.
So that's one of the things we actually give out to the employees. That's not something that is there in huge top players.
So you're promoting your advantages as a small company to the employees.
Yes.
And salary-wise, how much are the salaries in the IT in Sri Lanka?
We actually have to follow the same, salary structure. I mean, for interns, it's around 10,000 to 15,000 LKR. For associate, it's around 45,000 to 60,000. For a senior software engineer, it's around 80 to 125,000. So that's actually the salary scale.
100,000 is $2,000.
No.
No? No.
That's actually $500.
Right. Miscalculated. Yeah, $500. That's very cheap.
Yeah. That is actually the industry standard. Even if you go to Virtusa, it's the same amount.
That's very inexpensive. And do you know how many software developers there are in Sri Lanka, roughly?
That I'm not sure I know them. I mean, there's actually a huge number of people coming out as software engineers. So I'm not sure. I think it grows by the day.
All right. Are there any cultural differences that you notice working with Germany or with Japan or any other country outside of Sri Lanka or Asia?
Yeah, there's a cultural difference. I mean, Germans, I mean, all the other, except for Sri Lankans, all the other clients are very, sometimes they have their own sprint plan. So it's actually hard to work with something like that, but after, deployment, we actually prefer that. Because, what happens with Sri Lankan clients is they're actually all right with anything. They just let us do anything.
Man, that's the dream customers.
Yeah, that's actually true. But after the deployment, then they are like, okay, we needed this, you got it, right?
So, scope creep,
yeah.
Scope creep. And that's why it's very difficult to do fixed quotes.
Yeah, that's true.
Why we dropped them 10 years ago. And what are your plans for the business for this year, for instance, that just started?
Yeah, so I think you know about the situation in Sri Lanka, the economic, you don't know that?
Really? Tell me.
So the economy is really falling now. It's actually a huge problem. I mean, we don't have, what do you call, the foreign reserve. It's depleting. I think we have about $1 billion US dollars. Just 1 billion.
The whole country?
Yeah.
Shit.
So that's actually pretty bad. So people are migrating because of that reason.
Where are they going?
They are going to Canada, Australia, those countries. Because, there's a great Sri Lankan,
community.
Yeah, community there.
But it's also probably easy. It's probably very difficult to immigrate if you only make like $500 a month.
Yeah, but they're actually finding jobs there. So
this is how you're losing talent.
Yeah, so we actually losing people in the country. So and the current employees, even the employees, they are actually thinking if it's the right decision to stay in Sri Lanka. Even for our directors.
I think if you have money and the country has only 1 million and you have 2, then it's probably good to stay.
So yeah, that's true. That's one of the plus points of a migration, I guess. Mm-hmm. So it's like a mass migration now. There's a queue in the passport department.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. No one told me. In 1 month that I've been here, no one told me about it.
Really? That's actually very general knowledge. If you ask someone, it's like the government is trying to do everything they can, but...
That explains the exchange rate difference.
That's right.
On the street and in the bank.
That's right. I thought you actually knew about that before coming to the country, but it's not reflected in the people. Though.
I only know about the exchange rate.
It's not really reflected in the,
Because if you make your income in Sri Lankan rupees, then you don't have to exchange the money.
Yeah. So due to that reason, we came up with this, I think last month, we are actually planning to pay our employees in USD, probably at the end of this year.
Right. And how are you going to make it happen? Where are you going to get the cash from?
That is actually one of the problems we have, but I think we'll probably be able to find a solution.
There should be like jewelry stores and this.
Yes. So I had a question. So do you have dollars coming into your company?
Dollars? Well,
USD?
Yes, but for that, many IT companies in Ukraine get incorporated somewhere else. Some get incorporated in the US, some in Estonia. You can, by the way, get incorporated in Estonia and get yourself a bank account with TransferWise or any of those payment systems. And this is how you can invoice your customers in US dollars or euros, get them there, and that is up to you. How do you get them into the country?
Got it.
But on your bank account, there will be legit dollars and euros.
Got it.
You can also do crypto. Crypto should also be very
Have
easy.
you incorporated that to your company? I mean, crypto transfer?
Crypto, we've been testing this, and if someone wants to get paid in crypto, we experiment with that. But it's not like a full-scale payment option for everyone.
You mean for the employees?
For the employees,
For
yes.
the employees. Are there employees asking from crypto?
Some prefer that. If they're somewhere abroad, if they're traveling or something, it's the easiest way to get paid.
Yeah.
Right. So we can do that as an exception. And they have also been customers who paid us in crypto. But those were mostly sponsors for open source projects and so on. And they were like, can we contribute with Bitcoins into development of this open source product? And we're like,
Got it.
Sure. We'll process that, no problem.
Yeah.
Crypto, money is money.
Yeah, that's true. But recent times, it went by half, I think, the price. I think it went down by 50%.
You mean Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Well, it's been up and down all the time, so it's not the first time it happens.
Yeah, that's true.
And it depends on you. You can sell everything when they pay you. You can keep it. You can do whatever you want. It's pretty good. But you can just fix the rate, the price,
And
on the day of payment, and then you can consider this a prepayment, and every month you take a certain amount that corresponds to the hours that you've spent on the project.
Yeah.
So consider it as a prepayment fund.
And even if you actually pay from USDT, then it's pegged to the US dollars. So that's
Exactly. That's very convenient.
Yeah. And I have another question. I think I asked you from WhatsApp if you have any other employees, I mean, outside your country.
Well, we don't have like properly international hiring, and I would like to explore that better.
Yeah.
But right now we have Ukrainians who work from pretty much anywhere in the country, and there are some people who moved abroad and been working from there.
Got it.
So that's our structure right now. Like probably 100% of employees are Ukrainian.
If you feel like hiring from Sri Lanka, I can help you out. That's actually one of the things you can do. I mean, it's going to benefit you.
Well, it depends. We need to interview the people and see their skills and everything.
Yeah.
So. But that may be an option. And anything you can tell to these entrepreneurs who start their services business?
I guess the most important thing you can do is to have persistence. That's the key point. If you feel like, what the hell are you doing? I mean, you are working for 12 hours. Are you going to have anything in the future? That's something I think everybody shares, right? So I think at those times you need to think about, you have two options. You can either give up or you can just stay there, stay on the same path. So, if you stay there in that path, and I think, doors open for you. I think it magically happens for some reason. So you shouldn't actually give up. That's my advice to you.
So on your website, I saw different certifications, right? You
Got
have
it.
a whole bunch of badges with the ISO,
Yeah.
and remind me what else you have there.
That's actually not our certification. That's our partner certifications. I think you've read about Nova Corp. So when we actually build a software, we consult with them on some of the projects, not every project, because the client should be able to afford their consultation fees. So some of the projects, the client need an extra level of protection. So in that case, we actually ask our partners to go through the code and everything. That is actually what the Nova Corp does for us. It's a partnership. So I think the certifications you saw is our partners.
All right, because I was wondering how
Yeah,
a small team like yours could get like an ISO certification and anything. Actually, we never got to do any certification like that because I still don't know how that influences marketing and sales. I don't quite know clients who would go from site to site, from a website to website of different software agencies, checking for a particular badge or particular certification. We have never come across such customers. If we do, probably we'll start thinking that way.
I think we never got customers, coming from our website suddenly calling us, we like your website and stuff, we need to work with you. I'm not sure if other software companies, if that happens, might be the top tier companies. I think it should happen. But when it comes to Virtusa, WSO2, their websites are very complex. I mean, you won't understand what their service is just by visiting the website. So it's one of the reasons. I'm not sure if they are getting calls like that. What about you? Have you got calls through the website? I mean,
of course, yes. We are getting a lot of inquiries via the websites, but we have been also investing a lot. So at least our marketing and sales cost us 20 grand a month. And we've been investing into SEO, listings, different social media activities and things like that. So we produce a lot of content. So we also do content marketing so that people can interested in a certain subject can find us in Google. And it's a lot of work. It's also very expensive. But this is how you can get real leads from the website.
I think we should start logging into.
My experience and my advice is to start as early as possible. So if you can think about doing something, let's say, less expensive, you can submit your website to different directories. You can publish articles on your website. And this is how you get more visible.
Yeah, that's true.
And I would if your market is Sri Lanka, I would. Do you have a Sri Lankan version of the website, or only in English? By doing a Sri Lankan version, I'm pretty sure you can cover more of the local market.
It's like Konstantin. It's in Sri Lanka. If someone's actually looking for software projects, they actually prefer to they are actually very good in English. If they are actually looking for a project, we don't have. That is something in Sri Lanka.
I understand, but can you teach or learn programming in Sinhala?
No.
No?
No.
It's always taught in English?
There are videos like that. There might be YouTubers doing that, but most of the engineers, they are good in English. Because it's hard to, the terms, in Sinhala you don't have terms for some things.
Like database, interface, abstraction,
I think database,
instance.
Database there's a word for that. But let's say
polymorphism.
You don't have a word for that.
All right. That's something new to me because in my country people learn in the local language.
Okay. Not the same thing here. Even in local universities, it's English.
Comes from the British. All right. Well, I'm done with my questions.
All right.
If you would like to ask something about how we work in Ukraine, or
I
how
think
you work
I have a lot of stuff to learn from you. You know, you have a 70 employee base.
Took me 17 years.
17.
You're just at the beginning of the journey. My other business, my QA business, is 7 years old. But I grew it on top of the software development shop.
So it's like a SaaS, no, it's like a QA service, right?
Yeah.
QA service.
It's service. We do have a few products, and I think we're gonna extend our offering. So for now, we only have one app for Android that lets you test Android applications. It lets you measure, mostly UI.
Yeah.
Measure, record, take pictures, this kind of stuff. And I'm also thinking about packages that would be mostly automated. Let's say you're a startup and you need to check many things on a daily basis, and something falls off all the time. Let's say this link stops working, this form stops working, this thing stops working. And then if you had a whole tool set or a subscription with us that would check it on a daily basis, I'm pretty sure it would save you a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a nice.
And that's
you came up with the idea.
I've been pondering the idea. There are similar products.
Really?
I think so, yes. But I think if it's a hybrid product between an automated tool set and manual labor, then we can price it accordingly and sell as a package.
So it's like if you have a subscription with QAwerk, is it a project based or number of projects? Or
well, I'm pretty sure those packages will be tailored to fit every type of startup or every type of business. But for now, we've been selling manual and QA automation, and also security testing.
Yeah.
So it's also priced by the hour. There can be an SLA. Let's say if you're not like a recurring customer, we put you on an SLA. You have to prepay 10 hours every month, and then we can be available on a short notice if something needs to be tested.
So you hire separate people for that certain project, or
not really. We have our own employees. Out of those at Redwerk, there is a certain amount of QAs.
Yeah.
And we use them. We sell them through the QAwerk brand.
It's actually good for a product. I think product-based company and something like PickMe, they'd probably benefit a lot. Maybe you can send them a quotation.
What we do, by the way, with projects like PickMe, with products, we take a product every month. And we test it, and we publish the bugs that we find on our website. We call it our bug crawl. Not even monthly, it's weekly. So yes, we take one app a week, test it, and publish our report. And this is how we got a few customers, because they liked our reports and they become our...
So you do that for free?
Yes.
Just to gain customers?
Yes. And this is also a good way to keep the QAs busy. Because whenever they are between projects, or if there is lower load, there is always something they can do. Like find an app, test it, publish a report.
Got it. Okay, I guess that's it. I think something popped into my mind, but I can't remember it.
Well,
okay then.
It's been a very good conversation. Thank you, Thisaru.